Envy and jealousy. One of the most common and powerful reasons someone may feel hostility toward you is envy or jealousy. These emotions act like poison in relationships. What starts as admiration can easily turn into resentment, and respect can quickly become contempt. Jealousy and envy usually emerge when someone sees something in you that they secretly want, but believe they cannot have. This reaction can be triggered by many things: your career success, personal achievements, lifestyle, or even your personality. Often people who are envious are unhappy with their own lives. Instead of being inspired by your progress or feeling genuinely happy for you, they compare themselves and feel small or frustrated. Your accomplishments become a mirror reflecting their own perceived failures. In an effort to protect their ego, they may begin to wish for your downfall. Some even take it a step further. They might gossip about you, try to discredit your work, or spread false stories just to bring you down. All of this happens not because you've done anything wrong, but because they're unable to deal with their own dissatisfaction. The key thing to remember is this: envy and jealousy belong to them, not you. It's easy to take this kind of behavior personally, especially when it's directed at you. But Stoic philosophy reminds us not to worry about things outside of our control. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, we must focus on our own actions, thoughts, and responses, not on the emotions or opinions of others. You are not responsible for someone else's inner conflict. Your talents, your drive, and your success should never be dimmed to make others feel comfortable. If anything, these reactions are proof that you're doing something right. The presence of envy often means you're standing out, doing something worth noticing. Learning how to recognize and handle envy maturely is a vital skill. It helps you maintain emotional balance and avoid falling into unnecessary conflict. Stay grounded in your values. Don't shrink to fit into someone else's comfort zone. Let your success speak for itself and rise above the noise. By staying focused and detached, you can protect your peace while continuing to grow regardless of how others may feel about your light. Misunderstandings and poor communication. Sometimes people develop negative feelings toward you, not because of who you are, but because of a simple misunderstanding. Even small communication errors can lead to deep resentment. A single misplaced word, an offhand comment, or an unintended facial expression can leave someone with the wrong impression. Over time, these minor misinterpretations can build emotional walls, turning what could have been a positive connection into tension or hostility. At the root of many interpersonal conflicts is a gap between intention and perception. What you meant to say and how someone else heard it are often very different. Without clear communication, these gaps grow wider. People start making assumptions based on limited information, and soon a story forms in their mind that may have nothing to do with reality. One of the biggest issues is the lack of active listening. Many of us listen to respond, not to understand. When we fail to truly hear someone, we miss the opportunity to clarify meaning and prevent unnecessary friction. Likewise, when others don't take the time to understand us, they may judge us based on a distorted version of our words or actions. This is why misunderstandings are so dangerous. They can create distance and mistrust where there was none before. They can make people believe you're cold, disrespectful, or distant, even if your intentions were completely harmless. When left unaddressed, these misperceptions can become deeply rooted and hard to reverse. The solution lies in developing open, honest, and empathetic communication. Whenever possible, aim for clarity. Ask questions. Clarify your intentions. Don't be afraid to revisit a conversation if you feel there's been a misunderstanding. And just as important, give others the benefit of the doubt. Don't rush to judgment based on limited information or a single moment. In Stoic thinking, we are encouraged to take responsibility for what we can control: our words, our tone, and our effort to understand others. We're also reminded not to be disturbed by things we can't control, like how someone chooses to interpret us. By communicating mindfully and listening deeply, we can prevent unnecessary conflicts and foster more meaningful, respectful relationships. Value and belief conflicts. We live in a world filled with people from different backgrounds, cultures, and belief systems. Each person's values are shaped by their upbringing, personal experiences, and environment. Sometimes when your values don't align with someone else's, it can create discomfort or even resentment. These differences may not always be about major topics like politics or religion. They can be rooted in everyday opinions about work ethic, lifestyle choices, or even how one defines success or happiness. When someone believes their values are the only correct or superior way to live, they may view your differing beliefs as a threat. They see you not as a person with a different perspective, but as someone who challenges the very foundation of their identity. This can trigger defensiveness, which quickly escalates into judgment, criticism, or rejection. The more deeply a person is attached to their beliefs, the more likely they are to feel personally attacked when those beliefs are questioned or simply not shared. What begins as a minor disagreement can turn into a wall that blocks empathy and mutual respect. That wall becomes a breeding ground for resentment, especially when it is reinforced by fear, ignorance, or unacknowledged bias. In Stoic philosophy, we are reminded that every person is a product of their own experiences. As Epictetus once said, no one's worldview exists in a vacuum. It is shaped by the people, events, and culture that form them. This perspective encourages compassion and tolerance. Just because someone doesn't share your values doesn't mean they are wrong. It simply means they've walked a different path. Open dialogue, respect, and a willingness to understand others are powerful tools in preventing value-based conflicts. Instead of trying to convince others to think like you, aim to understand why they think the way they do. When you approach differences with curiosity rather than judgment, you create space for connection even when agreement is not possible. Accepting that not everyone will see life through your lens is an important step toward peace. You don't have to compromise your own values to respect someone else's. By practicing tolerance, you protect your energy and create room for more respectful, meaningful relationships. Rumors and gossip. One of the most damaging and emotionally exhausting reasons someone might harbor resentment or hatred toward you is the influence of rumors and gossip. These often start quietly through whispers, offhand remarks, or assumptions, but can quickly spiral into full-blown character attacks. By the time you even hear about it, a narrative may have already taken hold, a version of you shaped not by truth but by distortion. Gossip spreads fast. Like a wildfire, it moves through social circles, gaining speed with every retelling. Even if the original story was false, exaggerated, or misunderstood, people tend to believe what they hear, especially if it confirms an existing bias or suspicion. Worse, once a rumor takes root, it becomes incredibly hard to undo the damage. People rarely verify what they hear. They react emotionally, form opinions quickly, and pass judgment without asking questions. This phenomenon is not just frustrating, it is deeply harmful. It can poison friendships, damage reputations, and isolate you from people who once supported you. It can also affect your career, family dynamics, and overall sense of self-worth. The most dangerous thing about gossip is that it rarely reflects reality. Instead, it becomes a warped version of the truth shaped by jealousy, insecurity, or the need to feel important. In many cases, the people spreading rumors are driven by their own hidden motivations. They might feel threatened by your success, envious of your confidence, or simply uncomfortable with your presence. By attempting to bring you down through false stories, they try to regain a sense of control or superiority. Some gossip because they want to feel accepted, included, or in the know. Others do it to distract from their own flaws or failures. Whatever the reason, the result is the same. Your character is placed under attack by forces outside your control. And while it is tempting to defend yourself, confront every lie, or try to correct every false impression, the truth is you cannot control what others choose to believe. What you can control is your integrity. Stay consistent. Stay grounded in truth. Continue to live and act with authenticity. Over time, your actions will speak louder than the rumors. As hard as it may be, resist the urge to lower yourself to their level. Silence, maturity, and consistency often speak louder than public defense. Remember, people who matter will seek the truth. Those who do not were never truly in your corner to begin with. Let your values shield you, not your words. Trust that time and character will reveal everything. Personal insecurities and projection. One of the most overlooked reasons why someone may dislike you is rooted in their own personal insecurities. These inner struggles, if not acknowledged and addressed, can quietly evolve into envy, resentment, and even hostility. When someone feels inadequate or unworthy, it becomes easier for them to project those feelings onto others, especially those who appear confident, successful, or at peace with themselves. Projection is a psychological defense mechanism. Instead of confronting their own fears or shortcomings, a person redirects those uncomfortable emotions outward. For example, if someone feels insecure about their professional achievements, they might resent a colleague who is excelling. If they struggle with self-worth, they may target someone who seems self-assured. Your presence becomes a mirror reflecting what they lack or fear they can never attain. This dynamic is often subtle. You may not have done anything to provoke a negative reaction. In fact, you may have been kind, encouraging, or even supportive. But to someone battling internal doubt or comparison, your strengths feel threatening. They start to see you not as an individual, but as a symbol of everything they wish they had. Rather than turning inward and working on their insecurities, they lash out or distance themselves as a form of self-protection. What makes this form of resentment particularly harmful is that it is deeply emotional and irrational. It is not based on your actions or your character, but on how your existence makes them feel about themselves. Their discomfort is internal, yet they attach it to you. You become the target of their unresolved emotional pain. As Seneca observed, people who are not at peace within themselves often find it difficult to live peacefully with others. Their struggle is not truly with you, but with what you represent in their own minds. Understanding this can help you detach emotionally and avoid taking their behavior personally. It is important to maintain compassion, but also boundaries. While it can be tempting to try to help or prove your good intentions, remember that you cannot heal someone else's wounds for them. Your job is not to shrink to make others feel comfortable. Your job is to keep growing, keep shining, and remain grounded in who you are. By recognizing projection when it occurs, you can protect your emotional well-being. Choose to respond with patience, self-awareness, and kindness while keeping your peace a top priority. In doing so, you honor both your growth and theirs, even if they are not ready to see it yet. Lack of empathy. In a perfect world, people would meet one another with understanding, compassion, and the willingness to see things from another point of view. Unfortunately, that is not always the reality. A lack of empathy is one of the most common and overlooked reasons why someone may develop negative feelings toward you. When a person cannot or chooses not to understand what others are going through, it creates emotional distance that can quickly grow into resentment. Empathy is more than just feeling what someone else feels. It is the ability to recognize another person's experiences, motivations, and emotions without judgment. When empathy is absent, misunderstandings increase, and people are more likely to make harsh assumptions or interpret neutral actions as personal attacks. Without empathy, someone may take your success as arrogance, your silence as rejection, or your independence as disrespect. They react not to your true intentions, but to a version of you they have invented based on shallow observation. This lack of emotional insight often leads people to judge situations in black and white terms. There is little room for nuance, and they struggle to grasp the context behind someone's behavior. Their conclusions are quick, rigid, and usually unfair. Rather than asking why someone acted a certain way, they assume the worst and let those assumptions shape their view. In many cases, this inability to empathize is rooted in a kind of self-centeredness. Some people are so consumed by their own emotions and problems that they rarely consider what others might be experiencing. Narcissistic tendencies, emotional immaturity, or even past trauma can prevent a person from connecting on a deeper level. As a result, they may come across as cold, judgmental, or dismissive, even if that is not their intent. When you encounter someone like this, it can feel hurtful, even confusing. You might wonder what you did wrong or try to win their approval by explaining yourself. But the truth is their reaction says more about them than it does about you. Their resentment is a reflection of their limitations, not your behavior. Recognizing this allows you to maintain perspective and protect your emotional health. Instead of internalizing their negativity, remind yourself that empathy is a skill some people simply have not developed. You can choose to respond with understanding, or you can choose to disengage entirely if the relationship continues to harm your peace of mind. Stoic philosophy teaches us to focus on what we can control. You cannot control someone's level of empathy, but you can control how you let it affect you. Lead with compassion, hold firm to your values, and do not lose yourself trying to be understood by someone who lacks the tools to understand. Unhealthy competition and rivalry. Competition is a natural part of life. It can push us to grow, work harder, and strive for excellence. But when competition turns into obsession, it often leads to resentment, jealousy, and even hatred. What once was a healthy motivator can become a toxic force that damages relationships and distorts how people see each other. Unhealthy rivalry usually develops when someone feels overshadowed or undervalued. Instead of focusing on their own path, they become fixated on someone else's progress. They compete, and eventually start wishing for that person's failure rather than their own success. This shift in mindset creates bitterness, and over time, that bitterness turns into animosity. This is especially common in environments where recognition is scarce or where comparison is constant, like at work within families or in social groups. If someone believes your achievements are undeserved or that you receive praise, they should be getting it may trigger feelings of injustice. These feelings often fuel behaviors like gossip, sabotage, or passive-aggressive criticism. As Marcus Aurelius once noted, envy and rivalry can lead people to abandon virtue in favor of destructive actions. The need to win can blind them to fairness, decency, and reason. In the end, the one who competes out of insecurity not only harms others, but also damages their own integrity. If you notice someone treating you with hostility for no clear reason, consider whether unhealthy competition may be at play. While it's not your responsibility to fix their mindset, understanding the root of their behavior can help you stay calm and avoid getting pulled into a cycle of negativity. The best response is to continue focusing on your own goals. Celebrate the success of others when possible, and remember that someone else's victory does not take away from your potential. There is enough room for everyone to succeed. By approaching rivalry with maturity and a clear mind, you can avoid unnecessary conflict. True strength lies in rising above petty competition and remaining committed to your own values. When you define success on your own terms, you are free from the need to outshine anyone. You are simply striving to become the best version of yourself. Social expectations. Sometimes the reason someone dislikes you has less to do with who you are and more to do with how you do not fit into their idea of how you should live. Social expectations. Those unspoken rules about what is considered normal, acceptable, or appropriate can be powerful forces. When you step outside of them, even if you are simply being true to yourself, some people react with discomfort, judgment, or resentment. This often happens when you choose a path that challenges the traditions or norms of your family, culture, or community. Maybe you pursue an unconventional career, live a lifestyle that goes against the grain, or hold beliefs that are different from what others around you accept. To those who cling tightly to social norms, your choices can feel like a threat, not because you are doing anything wrong, but because your freedom forces them to confront their own limitations. Your individuality becomes a mirror, reflecting what they have suppressed or avoided. Rather than examining their discomfort, they direct it toward you in the form of criticism, rejection, or subtle hostility. This kind of negativity is not truly about you. It is about their resistance to change and their fear of what they do not understand. What matters most is that you remain grounded in your truth. You are not here to meet everyone's expectations. You are here to live a life that aligns with your values, passions, and purpose. Trying to please everyone will only drain you and distance you from your own identity. In the face of judgment, hold your head high. Remember that authenticity often makes people uncomfortable, especially those who have never given themselves permission to live freely. But your courage to live as you are might also inspire others to do the same, even if they resist it at first. Do not let the weight of society's expectations silence your voice or shape your decisions. You have the right to walk your own path, even if others do not understand it. True peace comes from self-acceptance and the freedom to choose what is right for you. Lack of recognition. One of the most quietly painful sources of resentment is the feeling of being unrecognized or overlooked. Whether in the workplace, within a family, or among friends, people naturally desire acknowledgement for their efforts, achievements, and contributions. When that recognition is absent, bitterness can begin to build. Over time, this feeling of being unseen or undervalued may evolve into resentment, especially toward those who seem to receive the attention or praise they themselves long for. This form of resentment is often subtle. It may not come from open conflict, but rather from quiet comparison and unspoken disappointment. When someone feels their hard work is ignored while others are celebrated, it can create emotional distance and negative feelings. They may begin to direct their frustration toward the person being recognized, even if that person has done nothing wrong. In emotionally charged or competitive environments, this desire for recognition can intensify. People who are insecure or highly dependent on external validation may struggle more with this issue. Instead of openly expressing their needs or discussing their feelings, they may harbor silent resentment, waiting for acknowledgement that never comes. It is important to remember that recognition means different things to different people. Some need frequent affirmation to feel valued, while others are satisfied with occasional appreciation. The problem arises when expectations are not communicated or when others fail to notice the emotional importance of acknowledgement. From a Stoic perspective, external praise is fleeting and often unreliable. As Epictetus taught, we should not tie our sense of worth to the opinions or approval of others. While it feels good to be recognized, true confidence comes from knowing your own value regardless of whether others notice it or not. If you sense resentment from someone in your life, it may be rooted in their unmet need for validation. While you are not responsible for how others manage their emotions, offering genuine appreciation can sometimes ease tension and build goodwill. A simple acknowledgement can go a long way. Still, do not shrink or downplay your success to make others comfortable. Let your light shine and continue to pursue your goals with integrity. Your value does not depend on being seen. It depends on being true to who you are.